Hi Craig, so it's lovely to meet you.
And you, yeah.
I've just got a few questions. Your talk was really inspiring.
Thank you. I think that was Naresh more than me, but thank you.
So would you mind just explaining briefly who you are and what it is that you do?
Yeah, of course. I am a designer, a graphic designer really, and I run my own small studio in Manchester, which is vainly titled the Office of Craig, but there is more than just me, and we do all kinds of work really. We have a rich and varied diet, but among the kind of traditional stuff that a designer would do, we also teach and we also sort of self-initiate a lot of work.
So how did you come up with the Office of Craig Oldham?
The name or the studio?
The studio.
Well, panic really. I wouldn't advise anyone else to follow what I did, but I essentially sort of, if you've ever seen Roadrunner cartoons when Wile E. Coyote sort of blows everything up, I kind of did that. I was working at an agency at the time, and I was in quite a privileged position, to be honest. I was a sort of a senior creative there, and I had sort of freedom on certain bits of work, but I just wasn't really getting that emotional kick out of it anymore. I sort of fell out of love with it a bit, and I thought that needs to be addressed. And after a sort of a meeting where something happened that I didn't really want to happen, I just sort of literally just said, right, I'm off. I don't want to do this. And there was no one else I really wanted to work for in terms of an agency, so I thought, right, well, I better put my money where my mouth is and do my own thing. The learning curve has been so steep, but like I said, the reason I wouldn't encourage anyone to do it is I didn't have any clients, I didn't have any savings really. All I had was a sort of desire not to do what I was doing and to sort of make a change. And that I do encourage in people to just sort of, every now and again you need to force yourself to do something that makes you a little bit uncomfortable. Because even if it's a bad experience, which I kind of don't believe in, you're still going to get something of value from it, and that is massively important, really essential.
But was it your motivation that inspired you, or have other people been huge inspirations for you?
Both really, yeah. I guess I would describe myself as a driven person. I am ambitious, there's stuff I really want to do, and I really do kick myself if I'm not doing them or get frustrated, I guess like everyone does. But there are people who you see, people like Naresh, friends that you see doing their own thing, I guess, in terms of me starting my own studio. You see people doing their own thing and you get that pang of jealousy and you're like, I want to be doing that. Why can't I do that? That's, they're telling you a story or something and you're like, that sounds amazing. I've got to have a bit of that.
You said kind of on those lines of motivation and inspiration and stuff, you said in your talk, it's not who's going to let you do it, it's who's going to stop you do it. Doing it, and that's kind of like a motivation of just do it, go with what you want kind of thing. Have you always been like that, or what advice would you give to students kind of to get into that mindset?
I guess it's confidence really. In my upbringing, I guess, my mum was always like massively supportive of stuff I did, even when it wasn't the right thing to do, which, but making mistakes is part of that and I encourage it. But I think my upbringing with my mum was always to sort of, to do things and see what happens, because like I sort of hinted before, that there's always value in everything you do, even if it doesn't work out. And there's nothing wrong with failing, there's nothing wrong with making mistakes. And that's something I really, really try and encourage. And I encourage myself to mess up, to get things wrong, because that means I'm trying something I've never done before. And that means I'm going to learn from it. All that information, that's when it turns into knowledge, because I've discovered that that's not going to do something, or that's not the right thing to do there. But those things go in the filing cabinet in your head, and you know that next time it might work for something. Sense of wanting to discover and wanting to try things and experiment. But I do genuinely see experimenting as just another word for failing, because you are just trying stuff, and you've got to do that. I mean, so I think everyone has that in them when they're going into the industry or not, and it's just about having the confidence to sort of to be open about those things, to sort of, when you're working on something, to go, look, I've tried this, I don't know if it's going to work or not, but maybe there's something there. And that's when collaboration comes into it, and that's how you sort of do things.
Do you have a favourite project that you've ever worked on over your lifetime?
Do I? It depends on what we sort of say favourite. I have projects that I'm really proud of for my personal reasons. one of the books I showed in the talk, In Love and Memory of Work, is one of those, because I got to work with all my family and my community, because I came from that background in the mining industry, and that I'm really proud of that. As a piece of work, that's a different kind of favourite kind of thing, do you know what I mean? It was lovely to work on, because I got to re-engage with my dad again and went to see loads of people, and again every day was something like I was doing something I had no idea how to do, like interviewing people or, you know, writing about something or researching. It was just constantly new.
What advice would you give to sort of young creatives trying to enter the industry?
Lots of advice. I've always been and remain, and I've never let myself get away from that feeling of what I felt like when I was in that position. When I was graduating and I didn't know where I was going to live, and didn't know even if I had a job after graduating, all of those things, away from my family. Am I going to have to move to London or not, or will I end up somewhere else? It's frightening. It's really scary. And so I never ever let go of that Craig, you know, with that Craig that was there. And that's what I sort of try and do with things like New Blood, is to sort of try and share my experiences to help people bridge that gap and not make the mistakes I did. And then you've got to go for it and really believe in yourself and aim as high as you can. It's better to aim for the top and come down a few steps than it is to just settle on the level.